stock futures, as we've seen all program long, are trading lower this morning as markets digest yesterday's press conference from Donald Trump. To help put things in perspective, we're joined from Riverwoods, Illinois by Todd Horwitz. He's chief strategist at BubbaTrading.com. Todd, great to see you. Leaving aside, at least for the moment, the press conference of yesterday, certainly markets, as we all know, U.S. markets have had a big rally since the election. I believe you're in the camp that believes that we are due now for a correction. Take us through your thinking there.
Good morning, Paul. Well, first of all, I've been in the camp that we need a little correction for even longer than that. But now that we've rallied in the Russell 23% and the other major indexes close to 10, just since the election, we've really gotten well ahead of ourselves. You know, if you take into consideration everything that Donald Trump wants to do, if he gets it, half of it done, have we overshot the mark? And I believe we've way overshot where we're going to go, because the one problem we still have to look at is behind us. We still have the old debt that has to be cleaned up. We still do not have good jobs. So there's a lot of issues that need to be cleaned up even before he can make his promises. So, for example, the banks, which start reporting earnings tomorrow, have already anticipated that he's going to get the regulations moved and that they're going to be able to start to provide liquidity again. And I would say not so fast. I think you're going to probably see some pretty good selling, because the markets themselves are looking and searching for a reason to sell off. You saw that yesterday. With one little word out of Mr. Trump's mouth, we came down 150 points before actually rallying back and closing up 100 on the day.
Todd, so speaking about the press conference yesterday, were you hoping, or was it realistic for investors to expect more specifics out of Trump?
You know what? I don't think that we ever get a lot of specifics about Donald Trump. I think he is really going to, you're going to get specifics when he gets his cabinet in place and when he gets everything else done, because I believe more of him is he's really just a guy who wants to be the leader and have the others kind of lay out the specifics that he's looking for. I think that's why we've always been really lacked clarity on anything he really wants to do. He says a lot of things in a big macro view, but I have not yet heard him say exactly what he wants to do. So I like him. I think he's going to be great for the country, but I think that we're going to be, detail won't come until his cabinet gets in place.
Do you think value was unearthed yesterday in the pharmaceutical stocks, which sold off all across the planet because of something he said in the space of 30 or 45 seconds yesterday?
It was really interesting how fast they did go down, and of course, a lot of them stayed down. And when you look at value and you look what's going on, I think that, you know, if there's any truth to what he's going to try to do, I mean, it could keep a little bit more pressure here, but it certainly, the initial bring down was certainly a buying opportunity, at least from a trader standpoint.
The banks will begin reporting tomorrow. It'll be fascinating, I think, to hear what they've got to say on their conference calls in terms of their views of the economic landscape in the United States, given the political situation. What are you expecting to hear from the banks?
Well, I think the banks are going to be fairly positive. I don't think the earnings are going to be as good as you want them to be. I don't think they're going to be able to match the rallies in the equities that they've gone so far. However, I think their outlook is going to be very good, because the biggest problem we've had over the last 8 years really is lending liquidity, because the spreads were not big enough for the banks to want to lend to the small business. They didn't want to give out the lines of credit, which really crimped our jobs and small business and entrepreneurship. So I think their outlooks will be good, but I'm going to go into the earnings numbers short banks, because I believe that they've well overvalued into where we are now. And again, even if they can do everything they say they're going to do, how long is it going to take to get there, and what will do their earnings? I don't think their earnings will be very good, because they haven't done very much over the last year.
Todd, with respect to your comments earlier about expecting a market correction, would you be a buyer if you saw the markets dip?
Yeah, I'm looking to be a buyer. No, I'm not going to be a buyer like in the first initial dip. I mean, I think we have probably 15 to 20% that we needed to shake some of the fat out of the market. I would be a buyer down there. I mean, we have to remember one thing. Investors should never really worry as much if they're investing what they can afford, because, again, markets do go up 9% year over year, just not every year. But as a trader, I'm definitely looking for a deeper correction, and I will look to be a buyer. But of course, I will buy value, or what I think is perceived value, at any time. I don't try to say, well, I'm not going to buy it because the market's going down. I mean, if I have a company that I like that I will buy at a value, I will buy it today. It doesn't matter what I think about the overall market.
Quickly, what's your view, what's your expectation of earnings season, which obviously kicks off tomorrow with the banks, but by the time we're at the end of earnings season, what will we have seen?
I think we're going to see another disappointing earnings season. I think that we're all pumped up on a phony GDP that we got last quarter, which is built on one giant soybean shipment to China. I think really you're going to see a disappointment, and I think this might trigger the final correction that many have been looking for, and I expect earnings to be a disappointment overall throughout the season.
Todd, thanks a great deal. Have a good day.
Thanks, Paul.
Todd Horwitz, Chief Strategy at BubbaTrading.com.